Hey guys, welcome folks. This is Saurabh. Quick introduction. Myself Saurabh, and I have worked in all these companies as an automation engineer for last 10 years, and I love to share my automation knowledge. So that's the reason I'm building all these courses for you guys. Ministry of Automation is my new website where we all automators meet, and we are doing different kind of group studies, seminars, and also systematic training on automation. So if you are really interested in automation, I would say please visit my website and try to enroll yourself for this automation transformation. And I'll share more details on this, what exactly this transformation is all about, and what are the different courses or the different levels of automation we're gonna learn in this. Okay, so make sure you at least give a visit and submit your entry in this. Coming back to our topic, so this is the video number 33 in our overall series for Java for testing. And if you are new to this video, I would request you to guys follow my videos in sequence, because you may get lost if you jump on any of these videos randomly. So the best recommendation is try from first video, and maybe you can increase the speed or skip if some of the topics if you're already aware of, but try to give incremental study. So next topic is method overriding. So in our previous video we learned about method overloading. What was method overloading? A quick recap. So method overloading was when we were trying to write two different methods with the same name but a different parameters, right? So that was a method overloading. Now what is method overriding? So if you see in method overriding, we are using two different classes, right? In this example, the example I highlighted right now, I have two classes, cat and lion. So basically method overriding, in order to explain someone method overriding, you need at least two classes, okay? But in method overloading, you can explain that using one class itself. So that's the first difference. Now what's the next difference? So in method overriding, what we do is we use the concept of changing the behavior of an existing method, okay? So what I mean, so let's take an example that you have some method. Let's say in this method cat, in this class cat, I have a method called sound, which is gonna do something. So here it's printing something. So let's say here it's printing meow. But in another class, I wanna use all the methods inside a cat. So for that we use extend keyword. Okay, so we're gonna learn more about this inheritance, polymorphism, all those things down the line. But what we are trying to do is we are trying to extend this class to another class. So in a simple word, whenever you want to increase the default functionality, right? So let's say you have an insurance and you want to extend that insurance for some more features, right? So what you do is you pay extra and you extend your insurance to cover an additional things, right? Similarly here in this class, you are extending it to another class, and the only reason because you want to consume some more methods in the cat class, or maybe you want to consume something else in the cat class. So that's the reason you are extending. Okay. Oh, my bad, I need to go back. Okay, so here the moment I do extend, I have access to all the methods inside my cat class now. But what I want to achieve is I don't want to use the default behavior or a default way with which the sound method works. I want something else. So how do I achieve that? When I'm extending to the cat class, now I have an access of sound method, right? But I don't want it to behave the way it is behaving in a cat class, which means I want to use a sound class, or maybe I want to write a sound method in my new class, but in another way. I want it to behave in a different way. That is what overriding means. Now, if you are getting confused, let me explain in a simple way. You have two classes. Now imagine in your mind, you have two classes, class 1 and class 2. In a class 1, there are a list of things. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In a class 2, there are again some list of things. Now what happens? In a class 2, you want to use something which is from class 1. Now how do you do that? Like I said, extend, right? So basically what you are saying is class 2 extends class 1, which means now you have access to all those things which are in class 1. Okay, inheritance basically. I don't want to use all those heavy words right now. You will learn them down the line. Okay, polymorphism, inheritance. By that time we'll reach there, you will say, Saurabh, it was so easy. Now I actually understand all these things. So that's why I don't want to use those words. Now I'll only use simple terminology. So in a class 2, I want to use something which is from class 1. And for that I am using extend keyword. The moment I extend my class 2 to class 1, I have access to all the methods or all the things in my class 1. Now, but what if I want to change its behavior? I don't want it to work the way it is written in a class 1, right? For that, we use method overriding. So what we do is we create a method with the same name what it exists in class 1, and now we we write our own logic in that method, and that's how we are changing its behavior. You understood? If you look at this, the cat class, the sound in the sound method, we are saying if you call the sound method, it's gonna print meow, right? But here what we are doing is we are creating our own method in another class with the same name, and now I'm saying no, I don't want to print meow, I want to print roar. Now what will happen when someone calls this method from the lion class, right? Whether it will execute this or it will execute this, that's what we need to look. Okay, so let's do a practical now. Quick example, a quick comparison, side by side comparison. Overloading was in a same class, we are writing two different methods with the same name but different parameters, right? Based on what parameter user is passing, it's gonna call that particular method. In a overriding, we are using two different classes, but the second class is extending the first class so that it can consume all the things inside the first class. But here he wants to change the behavior of one of the method. That's the reason we are saying this is the overriding. We are overriding the way sound behaves. I want to behave. I want to make some changes in this, and that's what we are doing it by saying it is overridden. Okay. Now let's take a practical approach. Okay. So this is what my package where we are doing all the practice. So this is my project and then package and the list of the classes, right? This is what the hierarchy. Right click on the package, go to new, create a new class. Now let's say I'll say class 1. Class 1. Okay. And I don't need a main method in this. So I'm just simply creating class 1 and finish. Simple class. So here what I'm going to do is I'm creating one method. So let's say, so what is the syntax of creating a method? Go back to my previous video and you will learn that. So first is access modifier, right? Return type, it's not going to return anything. So let's say public void name. So let's say I'm giving sound, same we'll use, no input parameters. And now Cisco control space shortcut to print, and then here I'm saying meow. Oops, it has to be in double quotes, guys. Okay, so very simple method. Okay, so it's printing meow. Now what we're gonna do is, so let me say let's create one more method, public void, and let's say automation. Printing something from class 1. So we created two different methods in this class, right? So if you double click here, this is gonna highlight your complete class. We have two methods. This is first method and this is second method, right? We are just printing something right now in both of these methods. Now let's create another method, sorry, another class. Right click, new, and class. So this, let's say class 2. Okay, I need a main method because I want to run this and show you guys. So I need a main method. Click finish. Now I have a main method in the class 2. Now what happens? So let me tell you, give you an example. Let's create an object of a class. Okay, how to create an object of a class? First, syntax, guys. Syntax to create object. We're gonna learn more about what is object, why we need it, everything in detail. So don't worry as of now. I want you guys to follow this syntax to create an object. There are multiple ways with which you can create an object, but I'm going to teach you very simple. And keep this mind, keep this thing in your mind. First is name of a class. So I'll say class name, and then object name equal to new is a keyword, then again a class name with this method indication. This is the syntax with which you create an object. Now let me correlate this real quick with how we learned the data types. If you remember, we have created string abc equal to, and then we directly assigned a value to it, right? So let's say something like this, something, you remember? So this string is also a class. Remember, this is a data type, like, but here if you try to relate, you will understand what I'm trying to help you guys. So let's create an object for class 2. Now how to do that? First I said class name, so come here, class name, object name. What is object name? You can give anything, you can give your own name, you can create my name, but I'll say obj. Right now it's my object name equal to new is a keyword, it's a reserved keyword in Java. And now again a class name, which is a class 2, right? And this symbol. That's it, guys. We created our first object. Congratulations. Now why we need this object? So let's say I have this object. Now let's try to see object dot. The moment I do object dot, what I'm trying to do is I get access to all the methods in this class. Okay, so let me create one method and try to give you guys example. Okay, this is a little off the topic, but you will understand why we are doing all these things. So public void, so let me say test method, it's not gonna do anything, and just print this is test method from class 2. Okay, now let's see here. If I do obj name of an object dot, and let me check if I have access to the methods. You can see test method, yes, I have access, right? Now how about using the methods in class 1? How can I use that? You said, Saurabh, I created an object of a class 2, so I'll able to access only whatever is in class 2, right? I'll not able to access anything in class 1. Then I say, Saurabh, okay, let me try creating an object of a class 1. Okay, without doing anything. Okay, without doing anything, let's try to create an object of a class 1 and see if you get any error. So let's try the same syntax, right? And instead of obj, I'll say obj underscore 1. Okay, so we tried to create an object of class 1, right? Now let's see if I try to access the methods in a class, what do you say, the sound method, right? What it's gonna do. Let's try to run this. So see, okay, now if you see, we created an object for class 1 and try to access the method from it, right? Sound, and it's printing meow because that is coming from your class 1, correct? Now what if I don't want it to print meow? So what I'm saying is, so in a class 2, whenever someone calls this method, I don't want them to print meow. I want them to use something else. So let's say I'm saying, hey guys, how you doing? Now let's see whether it will print hey guys, how you doing, or it will print meow. I think you guys know the answer. It's gonna print meow. The reason, because now created an object of class 1. So of course it's gonna go to a class 1 and get the method sound and print whatever it is, correct? That's why it's printing meow, which is coming from class 1. Now what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna do little change, class 2 extends class 1. So I just added extends class 1. Now what I did, I just added this extend keyword and I'm extending to class 1. Now here what I'm gonna do is, instead of all this thing, I'm gonna remove this, and just by object of class 2, which is obj dot, I'll call the sound. Now if you see, I don't even need an object of class 1. You remember I created initially an object of class 1 because I want to access a method in class 1, which makes sense, right? Now after extending, I don't need to explicitly create an object for class 1. The reason, because I am extending, I am inheriting all those methods from class 1, and now they are available for me to access in class 2. But how? By creating an object for a class 2. Now if I try to run this, now let's see whether this sound method is gonna call this sound method or it will call the sound method of a class 1. See what it's doing? It's calling a sound method from class 2 because this is what is overriding. Now you will ask me, Saurabh, hey, we understood, but where exactly it is used? In what way? Give me some practical example. Okay, so let's try to think in a practical way that class 1 has 100 methods. 100 methods, okay? I really don't want to rewrite all those 100 methods. I want to use 98 methods from that class, the way they are already being written. So what I'll do, I'll extend to class 1, and I'll try consuming the methods from a class 1 using the object. But there are couple of methods which, Saurabh, I don't want them to behave the way they are behaving. So what I'll do, I'll override that method in my class, saying exact same method name, and I'll give my own implementation. What I mean to say implementation is, I'll write my own logic, the way that method should work. So what will happen, anyone who is trying to access a method from the class 1, I have already overridden it, so it will behave the way I want it to behave. Okay, so it's pretty easy, guys, pretty simple. The method overriding is basically used when you want to change the behavior of an inherited method, or you don't want it to work the way it is being written. You want to change, or you want your own implementation, and you don't want to take the implementation given by a parent class or a super class. So this is your parent class or this is your super class because you are extending. So basically you are trying to get access of all the methods, everything from that class 1, and that's the reason. So now you are able to override it. Now let me go back a little bit, and now I'm gonna give you guys both of this. So obj dot sound. Now you can see here, we'll see when we create an object of class 1 and run a sound, what will happen, and when we create an object of class 2, what will happen. Okay, let's run this. Here we go. So you understood, right? When you're explicitly specially creating an object for a class 1, of course it's gonna go to class 1 and run that method, right? But here, if you're creating a object of class 2 and then you're overriding that sound method, then it's gonna use like this. What if I don't do overriding? See this? So let's say I'm commenting this code. Okay, so what I'm doing is, in both of these methods now it's gonna call the same code. Let's run this. See this? Meow meow. So in both of this, it's going to a class 1 and it is invoking that method in a class 1. But if I want to change its behavior, what I'll do is, even though it's going there and coming back, for this object it will go and run this. Right? So let's try to access. There is one more automation method we wrote in a class 1, right? There are two methods we wrote, sound and automation. So now here in this object, I'm trying to access the method. See this? Now you guys understood the difference, right? So what is method overriding and what is method overloading? Okay, so stay tuned, and soon I'm gonna upload some more videos in this series. So just a request to subscribe to my channel, share these videos with the, as many as people you want, who with whom you feel that they should also learn along with us. So, and yeah, thanks for your support. I didn't expect my channel will reach to 2000 almost 2000 subscribers, and yeah, it's growing so fast and I'm happy for it. Thank you guys. See you in the next video.